Hello, welcome to Well Oiled on a Wednesday night, and welcome back to Dafters Puck. It has been ages. Let's be honest, it's been it's been about 10 months. And, I starting our season, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and do 3 live streams a week. I'm going to do loads of stuff. It's going to be great. A bit of more like a chew, let's be honest. Difficult winter with illness and all sorts of stuff. And you know what? I've not been too well over the past couple of weeks. But with the hockey coming back, I thought, let's get back to it. I've been enjoying watching the Oilers so far this season. And I was thinking about maybe I should start doing some live streaming again. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And I thought, you know what? Let's just get cracking. You can plan and plan and plan. Let's just get going. Let's just press live. Let's go and get going. And we'll see how it all pans out. It won't be smooth. There'll be some dodgy moments with the buttons, I'm sure. But there is hockey to enjoy. The Oilers are playing tonight on Wednesday night in St. Louis against the Blues. We're 3-3 so far this season, so we want to keep moving ahead after that home stand of 6 games. Let's try and get some wins and start off with some wins in St. Louis on this nice road trip. So there we go. We are looking forward to it. There's plenty to cover from the first 6 games and previewing tonight's one. So let's get cracking. As this is all a bit impromptu, I'm not expecting anyone to be watching live. I've not publicised it or anything like that. So it should be fairly clear for me tonight. But if you are watching live, I will do my best to keep an eye on any comments that do come through. So do send through the comments, as I'll put the details down there. But as I get built back up, we'll start tweeting again and all of that stuff. Hopefully there'll be a nice little community here to enjoy talking about some hockey, and especially Oilers hockey, because that's the best hockey you can get. So yes, 3-3 so far this season for the Oilers. And it's always difficult, isn't it, when you start with a homestand like we did, 6 games at Rogers Place. On the one hand, it's a good advantage. It gives you a chance to really get going. On the other hand, it does start the season with some pressure. You know you're not going to be up to speed quite yet. You know you're going to have a bit of adjustment to do with players coming back and maybe a few new players to add into the mix. And it does put some pressure on you to try and get some wins early. And I know you always want to do that, but I think we did a decent job overall by splitting those 6 games. There was some tough competition we had to face along the way. So let's have a look, in fact, at some of those. We'll get rid of lists and then we'll go into here. And if I press the right button, we may be able to get this done. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Straight away, we're right in there. We've got it right. There we go. So, as you can see, 3-3 homestand, starting out with a win. No better way to start the season than with a win against Vancouver. The Canucks really struggling so far this season. I did think, they started, they ended our season in some pretty good form, and they did look like a team who might take a step forward this year, but so far at least that has not happened. I think Quinn Hughes has just been put on the injured list as well. He's got an injury. So, yeah, all going wrong for the Canucks, unfortunately for them. But a good start for us, 5-3 win. But letting a couple of losses, of course, we always hate to lose to the Flames. That was a 4-3 reverse. And then the Buffalo Sabres, who I do think are going to be an improved team this year. They do look like they've got some good players there. They're building something in Buffalo. And that was a frustrating loss, 4-2. But we got back on it. That game against Carolina, a real tough game. 2 very good teams. Didn't expect it to be 10 goals shared out in that one. Very competitive game. Lots of full check-in, lots of stuff going on, lots of fight. Well, not fighting, but a bit of argy-bargy, a bit of getting stuck in a bit. But we came out on top there. And then on Saturday, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. No, it was Saturday because it was an early game, wasn't it? A matinee game out there in Edmonton. So it was a 9 p.m. start here in the UK. Game against Blues. It's funny, you may look at the score and think not much of a game, but it was actually a really exciting game. Sometimes those scoring games can be very exciting, very competitive. We know what the Blues are like. They're very hard to play against, and they really tied us down. We couldn't get anything going in their area of the ice. And yeah, shutout Jordan Binningham did really well for them. I know he didn't play in their previous game, actually, the loss they took on Monday night. But yeah, 2-0, not great for us. And it did put pressure on that final game against Pittsburgh on Monday night. We know how good they are. They started the season on fire. Sidney Crosby, Malkin, and all of those guys doing really well. But we got the better of it. And what a turnaround that one was too. Trading 3-1 and looking pretty poor. Well, it's poor. Maybe that's a bit unfair. We weren't at the races again in that first period. And that's been a story so far in the first 6 games. But boy, oh boy, did we make a comeback. And in some ways it started, I know we all look at the Connor McDavid incident where he got whammed into the net and had to go off the ice for a bit, which is obviously about as scary a moment as Oilers fans can get, seeing McDavid having to go off the ice. But before that, we had Darnell Nurse taking a double minor, a 4-minute penalty, and we somehow managed to keep them out. And I do think that was a turning point just as much as the Connor McDavid incident. We were able to stem the tide there, and we were able to get back in it. 5 unanswered goals. It was beautiful to watch. Absolutely demolished them in that second period. What was it? Let me have a quick look at my notes. Something like 26 shots, wasn't it? Or something ridiculous. Yes, 26 shots in the period to Pittsburgh's 4. Yes, so Hyman's opener on another power play. No, sorry, we scored on with Hyman. Zach Hyman opened the scoring, and then the Penguins equalised on a power play goal, and that's a short-handed goal we've given away in each of the first 6 games, which is a bit of a worry. Tyson Barrie got his season off and running with a goal on the power play. Bit of luck there, let's be honest, but yeah. That made it 3-2. We went into overdrive from there. Kane, Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl all got on the act. And it's interesting the way Jay Woodcroft switched things up, didn't he, on the top 2 lines? We'll have a look at that ahead of today's game against the Blues as well. But all came out brilliantly. Ryan McLeod scored in the third period. A lovely little drop pass by Derek Ryan, of course. And we did great. I mean, McLeod worked 11 shifts in the third period, really getting some good ice time. And Jay Woodcroft talking about how Ryan McLeod now, this is kind of his 3rd season, really. And we're starting to see him not just playing, but having an impact in games. And I do think he can be a really good, I'm not sure if he's quite going to be a top 2 line guy, but a really solid, creative 3rd line center, definitely. Ryan McLeod, I really like him. So we won the game 6-3 and ended up the homestand 3-3. It felt like a big win. I know it's very early, of course, in the season, but those first 6 games at Rogers Place, we didn't want to be on a losing record coming out of that. So we've done well to win that final game against a very good Penguins team. And, you know, we're up and running, and that's the main thing. We're doing okay. So there we are, 6-3 win over Pittsburgh, and we can have a look at some of the stats that are involved in that. So here we are, points after the first 6 games. So Draisaitl leading the way. Einsweiss, Draisaitl, 11 points for him, 8 assists, 3 goals. McDavid 5 and 5. Nugent Hopkins has tallied 7 points so far, 3 goals, 4 assists. Zach Hyman 2 and 4, and Kane 2 and 3. Kane, it felt a bit frustrating through those first 4 games. I think it was first 4 or 5 games. He was getting in good positions, getting some shots off, but things just weren't happening for him in front of the net. And he had various opportunities, and particularly the first 4 games to get a goal. Didn't quite, it was just a bit of a struggle for him. But if you're getting in those positions time and time again, we know that Kane's going to score goals. I mean, I think over the first 6 games, I think he's had 30 shots. So he's averaging 5 shots a game. And you know he's going to come good. Very good player. Dodgy character in the past, at least. But yes, a useful guy to have on the roster. Soup, here we go. So, yes, Soup starting out his career with the Oilers, obviously previously been with the Maple Leafs, had a rough old night against Calgary, didn't he? Got pulled after just over 10 minutes, 4 goals on 11 shots. Bit of a shocker, really. Although, to be fair to him, other than maybe one of them, you could point a finger at him a bit, but the others, it was like the parting of the Red Sea in front of him. He got no help whatsoever. There wasn't a lot he could do. You know, you can say 4 goals on 11 shots, but he didn't have, especially with 3 of them, he didn't really have much of a chance of saving them. So it looks bad on him. And he got pulled. Skinner came in and played very well, so that was good news too. But yeah, we can put that to one side. I think Super's done exactly what we wanted him to do. Is he really an elite goalie? I don't think he is, but I don't think we expect him to be that type of guy. I think he's going to be a good, fairly reliable at times. I mean, most goaltenders can be a bit dodgy at times, can't they? But he's someone who can really go on a run and really look spectacular at times. And with Stuart Skinner coming through as well alongside him, I think that's a good tandem we've got this season. So he's been strong since that Calgary game, and hopefully he can keep it up. Cause for concern. Let's have a think about this. So, as I say, 3 and 3, certainly things we can improve on, and let's have a look at what they might be. So, looking at the points, both Fogle and Pudiavi haven't got a point as yet. However, I don't feel that is too much of a cause for concern so far. I do think that third line has looked quite effective, particularly McLeod and Fogle seems to be building a good relationship. And Pudiavi, he adds what he adds. I know there was lots of talk about him potentially getting traded over the offseason, but he's still here. And I do think that third line will come good. They're doing a lot of hard work without necessarily getting a lot of reward when it comes to looking at points and on the score sheet. But as always, keep doing the right things and you'll come good. Cause of concern, obviously, Holloway out injured, took a nasty whack, didn't he? I think it was the 3rd game. Who was that against? Was that against Buffalo, I think? And hasn't been seen since. Upper body injury, not really talked too much about it. Did seem like today that there were some reports that he may be coming back. He's not too far away, apparently. But yeah, Dylan Holloway still not with the team. And that does lead us to the roster split, 11 forwards, 7 defenders. Not ideal, especially with the roster crunch we've got in terms of the cap and everything. But it's kind of where we are, really. I think we just have to manage it for now. And Niemelainen has done okay. I think he's those 7 defensemen have done pretty well. It's just, yeah, you're mixing and matching a bit with Devon Shaw and Derek Ryan as the 2, mixing them in here and there rather than having a true 4th line. And I know sometimes the 4th line isn't going to get a lot of work anyway, or at least it's just going to get some bits and pieces, but you'd like a bit more consistency there. And hopefully Dylan Holloway, I mean, he started out, I think, on the 2nd line, didn't he, in the first couple of games. He is someone who I think has got a lot of potential, and I'm sure he will come good for us. He just needs to get through this injury and start going. And hopefully he'll be a real force on the roster for the rest of the season. Any other thing, I mentioned it earlier, conceding goals, short-handed. That's all 6 games so far we've conceded a power play goal. It can happen, but it's something we clearly need to improve on. And as I mentioned, that game against Pittsburgh, there were some good signs with that. The 4-minute double-minder that Darnell Nurse took, we still managed to blank them in that 4 minutes. So there's certainly something to it. There's certainly something where we can get better at that. I do like the fact that Woodcraft is using Fogle on a penalty kill. He obviously did that quite a bit with when Warren was with the Hurricanes. So it would be nice to see him get some minutes there. And yeah, I think it will come good. I don't think it's too big of a concern for now. It's not a great start. They need to try and turn that around fairly quickly. Up next, the St. Louis Blues. So we've got a big game tonight on Wednesday, but before we get to that, we do have to have a little look at a little feature that I like to call Pucky Blinders. Pucky blinders, not peaky blinders. A pucky blinder. Who has played a pucky blinder of late? There are a few contenders from the Oilers side. I do like the way that Ryan McLeod has started this season. It's almost like what you expect Draisaitl and McDavid to be great. So we can't take that for granted, but you kind of do in a sense, don't you? So McLeod, I've been really impressed with him, but I'm going to give my pucky blinder to Warren Foegele. And I know you may query that, but that last game against Pittsburgh, I think he hit the bar twice in the third period. Didn't really go to plan for him last season. I don't think Tippett really played him very well. And then Jay Woodcraft coming in, he was trying to mix and match a bit to get things going again. But I do think Warren Foegele can have a big season for us on that third line, really offering a lot of fight, a lot of the competitiveness that we need on that third line. And he will chip in with some goals. I'm sure he will. So I'm giving my Pucky Blinder award for this week to Warren Foegele. So for the Pucky Blind Award, dished out, we turn our attention to Wednesday night's game and another contest against the St. Louis Blues, who are 3-1-0. Start the season 3-0, of course, including that win on Saturday at Rogers Place, 2-0 win over the Oilers. But they then went and lost to the Jets on Monday night, 4-0. Jordan Binnington wasn't in that one. I forget the name of the goalie he was in. But yeah, I think I read up some reports after the game and some comments from some of the players, and they kind of felt, they'd done well in the first 3 games. They'd had a hard win against Edmonton a couple of nights before, and it was just a bit, one game too many. They kind of things caught up with them a bit. So you certainly expect them to be back at it tonight. And the Oilers are really going to have to be on their game to get anything out of this one. It's a quick rematch. So that will be interesting to see what the two teams do. Obviously, having seen each other so recently, how we've tried to counter what they want to do and how they want to try to counter what we're going to do, especially on the special teams. Of course, that's always really important. The Oilers generally have a very good power play. We need to see that the penalty kill really come to the fore this time and try to get on top of that, because we can't keep giving away. We keep giving away early goals. We keep going behind, keep giving away shorthanded goals. So we need to just tidy up that part of the game, I think it's fair to say. And ahead of the game, let's have a look at the projected lineup. So this is what has come out in the last hour from various Oilers beat writers. And the interesting thing, of course, is those top 2 lines. So this is how we moved to after Conor McDavid went off injured and came back on in the second period against Pittsburgh. Jay Woodcraft decided to change McDavid and Draisaitl up, matching them up with different pairings, and it worked really well. Now, sometimes those moves, it's not that you're really finding a special formula or anything. It's just changing things up sometimes can bring the best out of everyone. It's just a different vibe, just a different attitude, a different look for the opposition. So we'll see how long this lasts. But it went well. So, hey, keep the ball rolling. Why not? So McDavid will start out with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman alongside him. Draisaitl, therefore, will have Kane and Yamamoto. Yamamoto, another guy who he does sometimes, I don't know, some Oilers fans do seem to get on his back. I know he's not been scoring so far. I think he's got 1 assist so far, I think, in the first 6 games, but he puts in so much hard work, and the goals will come. I'm sure the goals will come from him. So that's a nice line. Draisaitl, the pass master, of course, Kane snooping around the net. And then that third line, as I mentioned, I've been really impressed with that third line. It perhaps hasn't shown through in the points so far, but Foegele, McLeod, Puliavi, I think that's nice and tight and solid. And then Shaw and Ryan coming in, mixing in with some minutes here and there. Should be good. Means we still have the 7 on defense with Niemelainen there as the 7th man. Nurse and CC, I mean, they've really settled into a very solid partnership. Kudak and Barry getting his first goal of the season on a power play in the last game. So that's good. That's really important for us to get him scoring on a power play. And Murray and Bouchard. So Bouchard, a couple of assists, has started really looking a bit more confident, I think, with a puck. is something we know he has to his game, particularly as a shot. So perhaps he'll be on the second power play group. You would expect him to be, and maybe he'll get a goal or two that way. But you just want to see him tighten up a bit on his defense and having that confidence to take a risk every now and then in the right areas and playing some nice passing. And that's what he did, of course. He set up Hyman's first goal, didn't he? That lovely free pass. Set Hyman away. So good to see him out there and having another good start to the season. And then the other thing to point out on the projected lineup is that it will be Stuart Skinner in net tonight. So, yes, did he play against the Blues last time, or was it Campbell? I think it was Campbell who played last time. But Skinner is in tonight. I really like Stuart Skinner. I think he's going to, bit by bit, I think he's going to develop into a really good NHL goaltender. And it looks a good tandem to me. As I said, him and Soup should come together really well. So there we are. That is the lineup for tonight. And that is what we've got going on. So I'm very much looking forward to it. It's a night game out there in St. Louis, so I'm not going to be able to watch it live, but I'll watch it back tomorrow. And hopefully we'll be enjoying watching back an Oilers victory and setting our win-loss records to 4-3. So there we go. That has been a quick impromptu Oilers live stream ahead of the game today. I will start getting into a regular pattern, probably doing one Oilers live stream and then one general NHL live stream every week. And I will get back to things like the Twitter and everything to get promoting all of the stuff. And yes, there we go. But having a quick look, it looks like everything is on. My microphone hasn't been muted by accident. I've done that before, and things have worked. So I'll take that as a win. First live stream here for nearly a year. We've got it rolling. We're going to keep it rolling as the season goes on. And hopefully the Oilers can keep it rolling after the win on Monday night against the Penguins. Keep it rolling tonight against St. Louis. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon.